It's always game day in Cleveland. Third segment here as we continue and roll on and talk about the Browns getting set to play the Tennessee Titans on Sunday at 1 o'clock. All right, so Daryl, you left us with a question at the end of the second segment. Make that make let's get concise. Just give me a
Just
15-second recap of what your question was.
are my expectations that Deshaun Watson needs to be an elite player right now for the Cleveland Browns unreasonable or unfair?
Daryl, they are not unreasonable and they are not unfair. I agree with you. Look, they brought him in here to be something special. Somebody brought this up today on our show. Is his contract hindering him, excuse me, from being a better player? Because if you get into a situation where there's a financial reward on the end of hard work, is that more beneficial to the athlete or the worker bee in this situation? He's been paid, right? He's going to see that money no matter what. So you wonder if that is in the back of his head psychologically or not. He may not be that way. He may not appear to be that way, but in his subconscious, he's saying, I got paid. I already got paid and I didn't have to do anything for it. And all I had to do is tell these guys, I'm not coming. Cleveland's off the board. And then they came back with, one of the most lucrative, the most lucrative deal in NFL history. So I wonder about that sometimes. I do think he is a successful athlete. He is out of sorts right now. He makes crazy decisions sometimes. But the problem I have, it is something that we talked about immediately in the post game, and Jamal White and I talked about this too. You knew what you were getting when you signed him to this deal. He is the quarterback that we know gets sacked. He is a quarterback that we know throws interceptions. So if you're looking at him and saying, why doesn't he live to see another down? Your answer is in his history. And you should know better. It's like me asking you before, should he carry the ball with two hands when he knows he's running around trying to extend the play? Do I think so? Yes. Do 95% of the people watching football think that he should? Yes. But that's not who Deshaun Watson is. And you are going to live by it or you are going to die by it. And Kevin Stefanski, unfortunately, is going to be the benefactor of that or the loser of that if it doesn't change quickly. That's where we are. And this is where we go to the next topic here because the hot seat for Kevin gets hotter with every loss. And I really want to sit here and say we are completely overreacting after two games because the first game was so good and the second game offensively was so bad. It shouldn't have been that way, especially when your offense allows 14 points for the other team. Your defense has given up one touchdown in 8 quarters. That's ridiculous. And if I'm playing on the offensive side of the ball, no matter who I am going to have trouble facing the defense because they have done everything within their power, with the exception of one play, to make sure that we're a winner when the game ends on Sunday. So if I'm on defense, I'm extremely upset with the way the offense has let me down to the same expectations you would have on a kicker that if you know both sides of the ball, offense and defense, are completely kicking ass, and then you send a kicker out there and they miss a 35-yard field goal, you should be upset with the kicker who doesn't put in the grit and grind that you do all week. That's why I understand all those things, and I get that. The defense should be furious with the offense after that last game. Deshaun Watson let them down. And now that Nick Chubb's out, Deshaun Watson has to be, without a doubt, without any question, the leader of this offense and the leader of the franchise. He's got to live up to this contract, and the pressure just keeps mounting and mounting. Because if I'm Jimmy Haslam, I'm asking myself, why did I waste all this money? And creeping into the picture in the background, and we'll see what happens on Monday night when the Bucks play the Eagles. I think it's Monday night, isn't it? That when those two teams play, and if Baker Mayfield is successful, there are going to be a whole lot of people around Northeast Ohio that'll be saying, why was Baker playing when he was hurt? Why is Baker Mayfield not still the quarterback of this team? I hope that question does not come into play, but I got to tell you, I see it every day in my DMs, on my Twitter, my X, and through text. People that still really like Baker Mayfield, and now he has an opportunity to be 3-0 this week against a really, really good team. And that's the problem. The problem is that you were just a few plays away from making the AFC Championship, and you decided to take the car and go like this. Daryl?
Yeah, it is kind of funny you had to say Baker Mayfield and your ex in the same sentence.
There you go. Exactly.
He is the ex, right?
He is the X.
Yeah,
He
look,
is the X that everyone's looking at right now. They are.
Yeah,
They're
you're right. I mean, fans are looking at, hey, the Buccaneers are 2-0. Baker Mayfield is playing great down there in Tampa Bay. And, well, Deshaun Watson has been pedestrian at best here for the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield's costing the Buccaneers like $8 million this year. And, well, Deshaun's costing 46. But now it's not my money. It's Jimmy Haslam's money. And you know me, I'm all about spending.
But if you're Jimmy, you're not happy about that. There's
Oh,
no
but, hey,
way.
Listen, tough cookies. Jimmy Haslam was one of the people that made the decision to bring Deshaun Watson here. So reput your show. That's right. I mean, the brain trust, Jimmy Haslam, D Haslam, JW Johnson, Whitney Johnson, and the other members, as I call it, the circle of trust out there that they have. They made the decision. Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, Alex Van Pelt, they all made the decision to make that trade. And I do feel like it's premature to talk about whether it's been whether it was the right move or it's been successful for them. And there's a lot of football to be played. For all we know, Deshaun can go out and finally throw for 300 yards against the Tennessee Titans. By the way, me knowing Mike Vrabel and the type of teams he has, that's not going to happen. If you thought the Pittsburgh Steelers brought the physicality Monday night, and this is where the schedule makers did the Cleveland Browns zero favors. The fact that they put the Steelers and the Titans back to back with 6 days in between, that's just brutal. Oh, and then, by the way, the Baltimore Ravens get to roll into town after that.
But you get an early week off to recover. Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
But dude,
because everybody wants their bye week 5.
I mean, that is just a brutally physical stretch that this team is going to have to. And then they come back from the bye, and guess who they get? The San Francisco 49ers. So
do you have a PowerPoint presentation for that game, by the way? I'm just curious.
Things don't really get easier until the trip to Indianapolis. Not to say that that's going to be an easy, but you understand what I'm saying. Like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
I
heard somebody say last week that this week's game was going to be a trap game. Well, you're 1-1. There are no trap games.
Yeah, there are no trap games.
And it's the NFL.
I mean, this is going to be a very, very physically demanding stretch for the Cleveland Browns. Like, and I'm not being facetious or sarcastic or being a smart ass. I'm dead serious. Like, the Steelers are a brutally physical team. I talked to a couple guys in the locker room who told me as much, that was, hey, it's divisional football, AFC North football. That's what we have to expect. But Vrabel is very tough-minded, tough. His teams are physical. And again, the Ravens are physical. The 49ers, especially their defense, are physical. So these next 3 games for the Cleveland Browns, like, if they can go 2-1, count your blessings, because this is going to be a very, very difficult stretch. And you look at the Tennessee Titans and what they come to town with, right? Yeah, it's not going to be an easy game on Sunday. Like, I don't know if the Browns are going to win. I haven't made my pick just yet, but I'm looking at what the Titans are bringing to town. Their offense, they've got a couple of pieces there. I don't know if they're playoff or Super Bowl contenders there, but they got some pieces that can put a hurting on the Cleveland Browns.
All right, there you have it, Daryl. It's always game day in Cleveland. We always enjoy you watching the show. We enjoy you listening to the show, especially if you're in your car. And thank you to the Odyssey app. Thank you to Meredith Kane, our outstanding producer. We will be back. Our next edition will be the post-game edition. That'll be on Sunday. Daryl, thank you very much.
A pleasure as always. And the post-game podcast, by the way, apparently our most popular podcasts. They are an instantaneous hit. So we will definitely be back after the Titans, and hopefully we'll both be in better moods because we'll have good things to talk about.
And it won't be 3:00 in the morning. It's always game day in Cleveland.